There is not this perfect time where you're going to be ready. But back to the mindset. Yes, there is uncertainty, but your mindset and the confidence in that. Yes, you're not able to look 1,000 meters ahead, but it doesn't matter. You know who you are, because if you consider the bigger picture, it doesn't require that much to be the best. If you just need to have some kind of advantage. You don't need to be the best on everything. In general, I always say, like, if we can just be 1% better than others on everything, then we are the best on all points. But it doesn't always require to be the best on all points.
Muy buenas, chicos, bienvenidos al canal de Isaac Suárez. Hoy tenemos con nosotros a otro invitado y este es el segundo episodio de nuestro podcast de emprendimiento. En el día de hoy os quiero traer a una persona que es además de un gran emprendedor, es también amigo mío. In this case, we will have in the podcast to Rasmus.
I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Rasmus. I'm 28. Grew up in Copenhagen, Denmark. I made my first million Danish crowns though when I was 12. I sold luxury goods online, primarily like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, like high-end brands. I bought the things used and resold them again. I'm the founder of COCO Development Group. I started the company for around 1 year ago, a little bit more. We have raised around $14 million today through private investors across around 16 countries. We are 50 people in the company today, and just to give a quick overview, we build villas as well as we build resorts on behalf of our clients. And with other words, we help people looking to invest in Bali. We help them with making a good investment together with us, where we take care of everything from A to Z, from the construction to the management to the branding and the marketing.
Okay. Thank you. And actually, for what I saw in the designs of your buildings, they are quite special. They are different from the general villas that has been developed nowadays in Bali. Can you tell us a bit about what is the concept of COCO? What is the spirit of COCO?
As I usually say, on the front end, we build beautiful properties with a big focus on creating communities. And I would say in a bigger picture, what I have a focus on, it is to differentiate myself from the market. You can say from a point of view where you have competitors, and you have let's call it guests coming to Bali looking for renting a villa. So let me give an example. Let's say you have 99% of all villas are white. Just an example, and you want to be the one that gets chosen. It's a classic strategy that you differentiate yourself from the market. No, not be number 101. So I would say in the bigger picture, with a clear understanding of how marketing and branding works, we have a clear focus on differentiating ourselves from the market. All of our properties are beige. And not just beige, it's COCO beige. We have our own color code, but in a bigger picture, with a let's call it from a perspective of Instagram and storytelling, we create concepts that stands out and creates attention, desire, interest, action. That's the buying. Let's call it flow, the stages people go through, whatever action they take, everything starts with attention.
Amazing. Thank you, Rasmus. Okay. What was the moment in where you decide that you want to be an entrepreneur? How did it happen? Did you feel as an entrepreneur like from child, or it was like something happened in your story time, in your time story, and suddenly to decide to take that path? How it was?
It's a super good question, because before you start reflecting, today I'm 28 and I look back on my on my life, and I'm also today reflecting about some of the actions I've taken in the age of 10, 11, 12 years. Where did it come from? In general, your persona gets formed by two things: your parents, like let's call it your DNA, what you get from your parents, and then your social environment. So the classic, your 5 best friends will form who you're going to be in the future. I think just by who I am as a person, how I got born, I've always been very curious. I've always been very active. When I was 2 years, I've been in hospital 8 times because I broke my arm. I was always very curious, and I think that mindset is super important in regards to becoming or being an entrepreneur, because it is to go out of the box. It is to go from whatever level to another level, and if it's uncertainty. All entrepreneurs go through steps where they're like, I've never tried this before. And you can say confidence in doing things comes from, you can say, if you previously had success, I've never tried this before. Okay, how did it go the last time I was standing in a situation similar to this? That went good. In the same way as a mosquito, if it flies into one of those that grills them, then they get a snap. Then it's not going to do that again, or you're not going to put your hand on something that's warm because you learned as a kid, hey, fuck, that hurts. And I think personally, from my own perspective, in a very young age, I was so curious. So I was like, moving my own limits so much. My comfort zone was so big, and I don't want to say I was focused on creating a bigger and bigger comfort zone, but I was very focused on, if I was not sure if I should do it or not do it, I promise you one thing, I've always done it. And in the situations where I was, let's call it, the most uncertain about if I should do it or not do it, and I did it, that's the situations where I've grown the most as a person.
Okay. Did you work for someone else, or you did directly make your first business? Did you went to the university, or how it was? How did you start your first business, and do you have past experience working for someone else?
I've actually never had a job in my life. I worked in a sandwich bar for like 1 year. That's the only job where I've got like a real salary. Or, the first year you have your salary, the money come. Except that I always earned my own money. Again, back to in a very young age, figured out that.
What age did you have when you started your first business?
When I was 12, I had made what is around $150,000 in profit.
With 12 years old.
I was 12 years, so you can say I was not trading my time. I was, with other words, it's called a commission based. So I could buy a jacket online. So for example, there was a brand called Canada Goose. I've sold more than 300 Canada Goose jackets. So I bought them used on like marketplaces or whatever you want to describe them as. And I could buy a jacket for $200 and sell it again for $400. And I just think that I, in quite a young age, figured out that the funny thing about a price is that you're the one determining it. And if you put a price of $400, you know, what is the person in the other ends, let's call it, understanding of the market. So let me give you, how could I create so much value? I was buying and selling it in the exact same marketplace. So I was buying it for example, a mother selling her daughter's used winter jacket. She has no idea how much it's worth. It's the first time she's selling it, and she also don't want to have it. She don't want to waste her time. So I could easily create a value and take some better photos, make a better description, and just set the price higher.
Okay. Did your parents be entrepreneurs also? Were your parents also entrepreneurs?
My parents are two amazing people. They both work in a kindergarten, not self-employed of any kind. Very down to earth, very good people. So not at all. Come from a good family.
So you just start by intuition your first business with 12 because it was born from you, from inside you, or did you took the idea from another person you saw? How came to you the idea to buy one thing and sell it for a higher price online? How that idea came to your mind?
It all started with me buying a jacket for myself, and then it became too small, and I resold it again the next year, and then I was like, let's just buy a used jacket for me, and then I have a little bit of autism, so in general I see patterns quite quick, and I think when you when you see something working, I think in general it's the same with COCO. We just raised $14 million. I can more or less tell you how much we're going to make in the next 1.5 years. Because as long as you have the numbers in place, then it's on the front end we create beautiful properties and communities, but on the back end everything is based on data. I said with the responsibility for around 50 people. My job, the majority of the things I do comes through Excel. It's how much does it cost us to get a new client, and as soon as you understand, have the data points, you can scale whatever company, and that's exactly. I have COCO Development Group. Also have a big finance company in Denmark called Accounting Hero. We scale from 5 to 25 people in 3 months. In the end of the day, everything is a number game.
Impressive, really impressive. How do you think the autism that you had when you was a kid helped you as an entrepreneur?
I would say in general, I learned very quick, and I would say that in the bigger picture, I don't know. It probably makes things more fun. Like in the same way as if you're, I don't know, let's say you're good in paddle, then you probably think paddle is good. But if you suck in paddle, you probably don't think it's the most funny sport, because you don't know how to hit the ball and so on. So if you understand quickly, if you have a smart brain or whatever, then you figure out things fast. What does that do? It does that you get results, and that's super important. It's dopamine.
Do you think the autism has been an advantage for you as an entrepreneur?
You can say from my perspective, I'm just me. I've never tried to be anyone else. But I always felt that I was thinking different. I think I'm quite classic in some way. I didn't really fit into the school. I got good grades, but I was quite quickly bored. I've been kicked out of 5 different schools. So also with that in mind, I think in a young age, you can make a comparison to, let's call it, a normal person going in the same grade from 0 to 9. That means they've been in the same social environment, and they've got a perspective of their thoughts and whatsoever of the same people for 9 years. From my perspective, I have been in 5 different social environments in 9 different years. The first time I went into a new class, I was not scared. I've always been a very, talkable and outgoing guy. But still be like, I hope there is someone in here that can like me, that likes me. The second time I came into the room, I was looking around and say, hey, who can I use? Not use, but who who can be good for me? You know, where do I want to sit, kind of? And I think that mentality and becoming so mature in a young age. I made my first street party before I was 18. I gathered 3,000 people in the streets of Copenhagen. You know, I think that confident in being able to talk with people, and you know, having so many different perspectives, is again, your brain confidence comes from the percentage, like you analyzing what you believe this situation will go into. So if you have, I don't know, let's say you have approached women's on the street, you know, the first podcast you do will never be good. The first time you're going to approach a woman is never going to be good. But you're going to walk over to her with massive confidence if you have done this 50 times, and the last 49 times you did this. So it's not the other way around, you know. It's learning by doing, and confidence comes from it comes from achievements, you know.
Yeah. Epic. Epic. Okay. What is success for you?
I was actually reflecting a little bit about it when you asked about, you know, why I became an entrepreneur, like what was the moment. I think from my perspective, I want to clarify, I've never been drawn by money. From my perspective, I went out of college. I didn't take a job. I started an event company. And for me, the most important, it was to be free. Also today, as I say to my colleagues, you know, when I have a new person starting in a company, I always say, you know, I'm here to give you opportunity, not to give you a job. And I also quite often in a week say no limits. I don't want to limit people, and personally I don't want to have limits myself as well. So from my perspective, it was to be the best version of myself for the people I, at the end of the day, actually cared about. So I didn't want to come home tired 6 o'clock after work. I didn't want it to be forced to meet at a work at 8 o'clock. Today work, you know, like 14, 16 hours per day, but I love what I do. But I just didn't want someone else to tell me that I needed to be at this place. That was my biggest why for being self-employed, because then I can do my own time management.
Yeah. You know, I share with you this concept of success. Okay, and I think it's it's a very common drive for entrepreneurs out there, the freedom to have the freedom to decide where to be and what to do with their life, with their time. I think is what entrepreneur people most drive to make the jump.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the mindset. You talked before about mindset. How you think, and talk now to the people there who is watching us. How do you think how important you think is the mindset as an entrepreneur?
I'll go so far and say it's more or less everything. I usually say that I'm my own biggest cheerleader. I focus on always talking positive. People that knows me and I have around me. It's not very common for me to talk negative, say negative words, and most important, I would never talk negative about myself. And when I say talk negative about myself, it's up here, you know, mind and soul, or whatever we want to call it. Entrepreneurship is to grow. It's to go from, one stage to another, and in between those two, let's call it stairs, there is a learning curve. And it's also classic and talked about, like failure. It's learning. It's not. And I think it's super important to just be aware of that, and motivate yourself. And also back to what we talked about a little bit before about dopamine. I think a lot of people, they never really come to the point where they say, hey, now I start. I was talking with one of my best friends, Joshua, last night, and what we talked about is this just started. There is not this perfect time where you're going to be ready, but back to the mindset. If you have the confidence in that, okay, cool, it's Sunday, I'm tired, it doesn't matter, I'm going to start this task. Yes, there is uncertainty, but your mindset and the confidence in that, yes, you're not able to look 1,000 meters ahead, but it doesn't matter. You know who you are. It doesn't matter how strong that wind is, I'm going to get there. It's a simple formula. That was the same with me. I started COCO Development Group for 1 year ago. I came to Bali like 6 months before. I had no network here. But I went into it with complete confidence. I invested more than $1 billion into the project. And, that sentence, that saying you have to yourself is super, super important. I just said it. Doesn't matter. I'm going to make it happen. It's super simple. I can look around. I'm not making something like a travel to space. I'm making a company. I can see other people in this island is making similar companies, and I know for a fact that if they can do it, there is no fucking chance that I can't do it as well. So the formula is simple. Whatever it takes. If it requires that I work 2 times as hard as the other guy on the other table, then that's what it is. I'm going to outbeat him. And I think that mindset, that attitude, and being your own cheerleader, being the person cheering you up, it's super important.
Guys, just with this tip, let's say tip, we can finish the podcast. If you get what this man just expressed to you about the mindset and about how to talk to yourself, this is ultra valuable. Okay, this is ultra valuable what you just expressed here. It's a truth. I do similar mindset work with myself, and actually most of the content I upload to the channel is about mindset. Mm-hmm. So for me, mindset is everything, and it's very valuable that a person who has already achieved high level of economical success with a business, okay, for the people who watch us, okay, in comparison with the people who is watching us. I think it's very important, okay, that a person who already have achieved some level express the importance of the mindset. That is not just silly things that guru sell in the books for selling books. It actually works, okay. So thank you for that. Okay, what is your daily routine and how your routine helps you? What routine do you do for keeping you focused?
Because the funny thing is that for many years ago, 10, 15 years ago, I got told that I couldn't sit still because I had a shitload of energy. Today I sit a lot in front of a computer. I also go, as you know, we meet each other often in the morning in the gym. I think out of the last 365 days, I've probably been in the gym 7/8 o'clock in the morning, 364 of the days. I don't work out that long, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It keeps me in shape, but most important, it boosts my day, serotonin, dopamine, makes me calm, makes me think clear.
How important do you think is for an entrepreneur to work out?
Again, I can only talk from my own perspective of a personality. I get not often asked, but I get asked from time to time if I should give two tips to become successful or whatever, something in that line. And what I often say is get a gym membership and start your day in the gym. It's the best way to, back to mindset. Another thing super important is your energy. Also comes a little bit back to your mindset, how it's created. And I'm super aware of what drags me energy, what tasks in a day gives me energy. For example, sitting in meetings, talking, I get energy out of talking. Other people could be vice versa, yeah. So the gym is super important for me, as well as other things that gives me energy. So I think it's, everything is in business is going out on a path you can't, you probably, some of the steps, and depending on how much experience you have, you already know some of the steps. Like, it took me 10 years to do this in 1 year. There's a reason I could build COCO development group so fast. It's because I've already tried to make a sales strategy, a marketing strategy. I've already tried to recruit a client manager, a marketing team, a content department, whatever position. I already tried and failed. I know what persona I was looking for in a sales manager and whatsoever. But my point was that in the same way, it's super important to figure out, what gives you energy. And for me, it's, for example, waking up in the morning.
Can be a person, in your opinion, can be a person successful, being rich and being a multimillionaire and being fat and in bad shape at the same time?
Yeah, we all live our lives, all it's not what you do, but why you do it. And you can find pleasure, or whatever you want to call it, in many different things. So yeah, you can be super rich, whatever, and have an amazing family, and what you love the most is, to do your business, play golf, eat on restaurants, being a family man. And yeah, you're fat, you're not in shape, but you're happy because you get stimulated by a lot of things in your daily days. I can imagine a person not in shape still being happy because have good things around him.
Okay. I'm not talking about happiness. If not, don't you see an incongruency? Because at the end of the day, everything is connected. Okay, so when you are not in good shape, this is my opinion. Okay, when you are not in good shape, you are showing lack of respect to yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you don't show enough respect to yourself, that will be transmit to the respect you show to others. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that include your customers, your family, etc. So don't you think it's an incongruence? Is incongruent that successful people economically is not successful in their health?
I'll say I don't think it's black and white. I think it has an impact. So I'll say you can still become successful and just never had it as a goal setting. Like, some people, they smoke, some people they drink, some people have, I don't know, they really like food, and for me it's super important. I think for many people they would have a fundamental increase in their productivity. I've been playing table tennis almost on the national league. I came on the 6th place in Denmark when I was 14. I played football for 6 years. I've been going more or less to the gym 5 times per week since I was 18, so for the last 10 years. For me it was super important. I was, yeah, you can say you can have a person who can you become successful working 20 hours per week. So you can. Is the chance higher if you work 80 hours, 60 hours, until you go to whatever break point? I would say yes as well.
Okay. Do you have mentors? If so, who are they?
I would say I don't have a mentor, but I have an understanding of, if I like I have some thought processes. So I start a development company. Everybody asks me, have you been in real estate before, been in developments before, and so on? I say, no, I've never had, but I've been running a company and so on. But in general, whatever I do, and that can be my day small mentors or my inspiration, whatever I do, I look at who is the best at what I'm about to do, and I analyze them. Who's the biggest developer on the island? Where are they developing? Just example. What is the designs? Is it bohemian villas? Is it very modern? What is the sizes? What is the price range? Could be things like this. If you want to figure out what should be a price strategy, what should be the units you want to develop, what should be the location. Quite interesting, because they are building their thought process on, let's say, 5 or 10 or 15 years of experience. I would say that's quite a valuable source for dragging my information from. So I would say in general, I simply look at who are the best. If I know this is the company in the industry I am in, who is the best in their marketing, they are the one driving the most revenue, having the most people from, let's say, from their website, driving the most traffic to their website. Just an example, but that's, goes around the whole value chain from product to marketing to sales. Then in your marketing, you have all kinds of different channels: email marketing, blog posts, organic on Instagram, very important, paid ads, Instagram, and so on. What are they doing? How can I do better? Because if you can say in the bigger picture, it doesn't require that much to be the best. If you just need to have some kind of advantage. You don't need to be the best on everything. In general, I always say, if we can just be 1% better than the others on everything, then we are the best on all points. But it doesn't always require to be the best on all points. We brand ourselves on being lifestyle property brand number one. Our focus is to be, differentiate ourselves and be the best in for that segment. And you have 24 hours in a day. So it's, where you exactly put your effort. I can give you an example. We don't do Google ads. We don't, 99% of our focus is on our Facebook and our Instagram ads. We spend more than $100,000 every single month. I think this month we're paying using $125,000. Coming year, we're probably going to spend around $3 million on ads. Can I be the best in Facebook and Instagram ads across all my competitors? That means I am the one who can buy revenue the cheapest. That's a massive competitive advantage. If it costs my competitors $20,000 to get a new client, and it only costs me $10,000, that means, in other words, I can actually put my prices lower if I wanted to, and outbeat them also on a price strategy. I don't need to, but in a bigger picture, it means that I'm actually able to make 8 developments in 1 year compared to them. They can only make 5. Why? Because we can simply buy revenue cheaper than they can. That's how I look at it. How much does it cost me to acquire a client? And if you know that number, that's the main number you need to know in your company. If you know how much it costs you to generate $1 million in revenue, what's the cost for your product? You have a salesperson maybe picking up the phone, and then you have marketing costs. Cost you $10 per lead. How many leads does it require before you close a client? 1 out of 100. Okay, cool. Then it costs you 100 times $10. That's 1 lead. It costs you $1,000. And if you just know that, if you have that number, that's everything. Literally, it's everything. That's why I can sleep good in the night, and I can spend more than $100,000 every single month, because I know if I put $1 into a marketing machine, I make that money back times 20. I make the money back times 20. That's why I don't invest in crypto. That's why I don't invest in anything else than marketing and talented people, and I pay well.
Super golden nugget. So, if you have to choose one book, only one book that has impact your life as an entrepreneur, which book would you choose, and why?
It's so funny because I don't remember any book I've ever read. I remember I watched a YouTube about learn how to learn. So he's talking about, for example, how to learn Spanish, and there's many ways to run, many ways you can learn a language, and he just go through a lot. I would say I listen to a lot of podcasts. And The Game with Alex Amosi, I for sure really like it. Really understand his thought process. Back to being maybe a little bit of autism or whatever. Numbers, I calculate a lot, like everything I do, because I want to have a return on my time. I want to have, where am I the most valuable? That's also, I have around 100 colleagues today, because my time is more valuable. So I focus a lot on finding, talents that I can work with, who can, help me get more time. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Sacrifice to get success, yes or no?
I will say yes. There's a lot of talk about work balance. I think in general, when you're successful, back to what I talked about earlier, if you're good in paddle, you probably like paddle. I'm super good in business. I like business. I don't care about money. It's just a key point indicator. But I like to see things happen, and it's me versus me. I know, but I can't lose. I said it to someone yesterday. I can't lose. That's it. It's me versus me, and back to the mindset. It's I'm scared. Yes, I'm doing it. It's small battles with yourself, and I just do it, and then I win. That's it. I can't lose.
That's it.
That's it.
I love that answer.
That's it.
I love it.
Also think a small point is quite important, is to make things smaller. Don't overcomplicate things. Make things small. Think about big. I make things very small. Back to how you communicate with yourself. If it's out of my comfort zone, that's something I've learned over the years. Back in days, I could go and I could worry. I don't worry today. Like literally, I never worry. Like, of course, sometimes I worry, but like I put it away and I focus on something else. And I think it's super, super, super important to make things small, and just be like it is what it is. It's reflect about what is the solution, because if you understand the problem, there are always a solution. And then, from my perspective, I just break it down. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Cool. I'm gonna put it in my calendar for on Wednesday, and then that's when I'm gonna do it. That's my Bible. Then I look at it on Wednesday, but it's out of my head. Like when people ask me, "What did you do today?" I'm like, I have to look at my calendar, because I have to reflect about what I did. But it's just, that's it. I plan my day the day before and have 3, 6, 9, and 12 months plan, and then I just stick to it. It's just what it is, I'm just gonna do it.
It's important to put the things out in the mind, because mind is designed for generate ideas, but not to retain it. So as soon as we put it out in a calendar, the best.
Yeah,
it's important. Okay. Let's talk about relationships. How Rasmus manage relationships in terms of personal relationships and professional relationships. I don't know if you have right now partner in life? If so, how you manage the time for dedicate time to her and also to the business? If not, also how you manage your relationships in general for be productive and at the same time have a good relationship base, which at the end of the day, as humans, relationships are important.
I have a girlfriend. I've been together for 2 years. I would say in general, as a person, I try to be as, can you call it, as transparent as possible. I try to be. I actually don't try. I am more or less the same person. Back to my wife, why I wanted to become self-employed. I didn't want to fit into someone else's box. I didn't want to, have a work that was not exactly what I wanted. And I think that also comes back to my personality. That I don't go into a work and then now I'm on work, now I'm off. It's the same person. My colleagues are my family. It's my friends. We were out the whole team this weekend, and I in general have, back to energy, a big focus on what gives me energy and what life do I want to have. The people, if you look at the team we have in COCO, it's incredible people, good-hearted, good energy. They want to grow, and we talk a lot about growth. We talk a lot about COCO, creating dreams, living them. That's the slogan, whatever you want to call it. And that also comes back to our internal culture, who we are as human beings and where we want to be in the next 1, 3, and 5 years. So I think in general, I'm good in relations. I'm good in people in general, to make new friends, to network, sales, sitting with new clients. And I think a lot of that, I've never had it I've never had a job. I've always just been working for myself. So me selling, I've made more than 1,000 contracts in my life, but I've never been selling. But people can feel me. Why can they feel me? It's because I'm me. I'm not pretending. I'm not trying to be something else. I'm just talking from my heart, and that's also I'm sitting with a lot of onboarding of new people coming in as property advisors and so on. And I'm not searching for these. Hey, I'm a high ticket closer, yada yada, close. I'm searching for people that I can feel, that has a good heart, and for some people that is just like very good people. So I make it very clear for them. If you want to succeed, make them feel you. Talk from your heart, and because it's just in a world where you can be everything. Just be yourself. It's way more real.
Also, I completely agree with you in that. Also, people love real people, and if they don't love you because you are real, at least they will respect you when you are real, when you are authentic with yourself.
Yeah.
And it's also a way of respecting. It's a show respecting, self-respecting to yourself.
Yeah.
And the connections are much more authentic. Yeah. Okay, just 3 more questions. Okay, 3 more questions and we finish. Okay, what has been the most struggling point in your life? What happened and how did you achieve how did you overcome that moment?
I don't really have like that. I think when I got kicked out of my first school and so on, I had some years where I was trying to figure out who I am, or not trying to figure out who I am, but a little bit frustrated, I got taken away from my friends and so on. But I don't feel like I'll say I've had a quite good life. I'll say I don't have any companies that went bankrupt and, be like, oh, success, and, I was in general but I also think it's what you make space for. Literally, I don't have a single example because I don't focus on it. I have bullshit coming my way every single day. I had an event company for 6 years. I had the biggest summer in front of me, and then COVID came. I lost a lot of money. You know what happened the day after? Picked up my phone and I called this woman because she made a post in a Facebook group that they were searching for someone doing the marketing. 21 days after, I generated them in Danish around $1 million in revenue. And that became, long story short, the beginning of me making the accounting hero, because I was like, hey man, okay, wow, I just made them $150,000 in compensation papers that needed to be, and that became the beginning of the accounting hero. I don't come from finance. I came from making events, and I just got a whole summer. I was part of 12 festivals. I was sitting with a sponsor deals with Revolut on around $200,000. I lost a lot of like deals I've been working on for like 8 months. But I didn't even think about it because it is what it is.
Okay. What would you say to a person, an entrepreneur that maybe is watching us, and he just now has lost a lot of money for his business, and he's worried and down right now? What do you have to say to him?
Arrow number 1 will always hit you. Don't make arrow number 2 hit you as well. I think it comes from the Buddhism, not sure. Though remember I said it to my girl, what is that, last week? I don't want to mention why, but like, it is what it is. Create balance. I lost my Rolex when I was on holiday in Istanbul for a few years ago, and I remember my friend, he said to me, work harder. And I just think it's a super good example. Then you just need to create balance in some other way. You heard it as a soldier, not able to stand up. It doesn't create upswing. It just creates, more negativity, so if you lost something or whatever you feel down of, then I think I would have my thought pattern over to reflecting about what can you do. That is like instantly, and just focus on always having that. Because if you understand the problem, there's always a solution. That's it. Like literally, there's always a solution, and yeah, there's always a solution. That's it.
Yeah. Also, you have now a very, very, very expensive lesson that you have paid. So this is going back to what you say. You have the error 1. That error 1 is a lesson. It's a lesson that have cost you the money you lost. So learning by that lesson is priceless, because now you are much more smarter than before, and if you keep going on, a better entrepreneur now. Okay, what is the purpose of Rasmus as a human being?
That's a good question. Also in general, I like to learn. I have a curious mindset. I like to challenge myself. It's a little bit often reflected or perspectivated to like a Sudoku. It's not always the goal. It's more or less the journey. So I'm happy. You know what I mean? I'm happy for what I do. I do things that makes me happy. I do things. I'm together with people that I learn from. That on some other level gives me something. It's like, and yeah, I didn't start COCO Development Group because I still have my other company. I'm not a part of the operation anymore, but it makes money, more than enough for me to live a good life. I created a new company because I wanted to grow. I didn't want to go into a fourth season, a third season, whatever it became to, and just being like, I already made an email marketing flow of 1 year. We have a sales strategy. We have Facebook. I could increase the company. There's a lot of growth strategies. You can go international, whatever. But I did it because I wanted to, start a life in Bali. I wanted to work with international people, have a day-to-day where I, buy time. Today I have a crazy network worldwide. If I go to Sydney, I have people in Sydney. If I go to Japan, if I go to Singapore, if I go to whatever, of a certain level. So we work with investments starting from like minimum $100,000. My main focus is hedge funds and $1 to $5 million deals. It's super, super interesting for me because the people I talk with are on a certain level of, entrepreneurships. Like if you were a tennis player and you said, hey, okay, cool, I'm playing in this club, but if I went abroad, then I would be playing with the big fish. And that's a little bit my thought process of why I started COCO. It was the people who am I gonna do business with? Who am I playing paddle with or tennis or whatever? And I don't know if you answered the question.
It's your purpose is yours, so it's gonna be wrong. And it's, I think it's a very one of the things that entrepreneurship gives you, and in your case you have explained so well, is the chance to know a lot of huge people that has reached really high levels of self-development, and to know, then learning from their mindset, as we are doing right now with you. I think this is priceless. It's wonderful. I love it. I love it. Okay, last question. So, what is the legacy that Rasmus want to leave in the planet from where he is not here anymore?
What is the question?
What's the legacy that Rasmus want to leave in the planet from where he is not here anymore?
What I want to be remembered for?
Okay, yes. Yes, once you die, what you want to leave here for people maybe remember you, or maybe enjoy because you, or make them their life easy, or what you want to live here in the planet for when you are not here?
That's a good question. You have, say macro and micro. You have the world, and you have your own small world close to you. I think in general, in my daily day, it's it makes me super happy. Things like all of our colleagues, creating a good salary for themselves, and growing and having small success. So I think in general that makes me happy in my daily day. So if I think some years ahead and what do I want to be remembered for, and I don't know, but like a lot of things we talked about, I can just give my perspective of what have worked for me, in the lessons of life, and as good as possible, just be I don't want to say inspiration, but just sharing is caring. I also used to say I don't have any competitors. If we have an event next week about how we were able to grow so fast, I'm happy to share out, so they can learn and also have a success. So happy my kids and my family's happy, and then they can take get some lessons from being around me, and grow as a human being in some way or another. And then I don't know, let's see how many properties we're gonna have.
Okay, Rasmus, thank you very much for having us here, for your time, for your disposition to share, with the community of entrepreneurs. We will, where they can find you if they want to ask you something, or they want to maybe buy you a property, where they can find you.
My company is called COCO Development Group. My own name is Rasmus Holst. I am active on LinkedIn as well as on I don't know if I'm active on Instagram, but I have Instagram. It's called same Rasmus __Holst, HOLST.
We will,
That's what I thought.
all the links you say, we will leave in the description below. Also, if you have a global question to ask to Rasmus, you can leave it in the comments below. I will be in charge if it's interesting enough to pass to him. Okay, Rasmus, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be able to share this space with you.
Thank you very much.
Así que chicos, nos vemos. Chao, chao.
Me too.